Hello everyone, welcome back to my video. Actually, I have just finished filming a video where I set up my 2023 goals with you guys, and I'm just going to continue with continue sitting here and finish figuring out what my 2023 is going to look like in my planners. So this year, as you all know, I used my half-year 2023 common planner for the second half of the year, and I absolutely loved it. I am going to do a flip of this at the end of the year. This is only 6 months, but I think it's been just really fun. I'm going to use this all the way up until December 31st, and then I'm going to start January 1st in the new planner, which is in my Louis Vuitton right now. Let me just put away my goals and all that stuff over there. So right now my brand new 2023 planner is housed in this Louis Vuitton cover. I don't know which cover I'm going to be using for next year. The first thing for January or for the first week, let's face it, I'd like to switch out my covers. But it really doesn't matter. I love all my covers. I like switching them up. So right now this is housed in here. I haven't figured out how exactly I'm going to use everything, but I have some sort of like a kind of general idea of how I'm using everything, but I wanted to just sit here and figure it out with you guys and go through like my thought process. I just think it's going to be more fun that way. And if you don't want to sit through this whole video just listening to me talking to myself about how I want to set up my planner, I'm going to film a more concise video later once everything's been set up, and I'm just going to go show you how I decided to use everything. So if you're running out of time, you don't want to sit here and do this with me, then you're more than welcome to come back for that video later. So let's get started. I think in this video, I'm going to both try to figure out how I'm going to be using my common planner as well as the rest of my system for 2023. First thing is, I know I'm going to be using only one planner for planning purposes. I'm not going to have a pre-planner. I'm not going to have a separate planner for personal and work. Everything is going to be combined in the same thing. My goal planner, everything is going to be in one place. My reading journal, literally everything is going to be in one place, except for my son's, hold on, let me see. So except for my son's memory keeping journal. So I am going to finish out my 5-year diary in this Hobonichi, and I'm probably going to continue using this because I haven't used the right side at all. So I might still just keep on using this until I run out of room. But then I'm not sure because, sorry if I'm like going out of the order, but hear me out. It's just like my process of like figuring out what I want to do for 2023. And I'm just so excited for this video because I haven't figured out my 2023 yet, and I'm just really excited to do this. This is like the most fun thing ever, figuring out the system. I think most of you can relate. And whoops, did I already scratch that? Yes, maybe I did, even though I've been so careful. Okay, so I've been so busy, I haven't had the time to figure this out yet, and I've been pushing off filming this video because I wanted to finish all of my homework before I can get to this. And so finally it's like it's like a kid at the start of the summer vacation. It's like everything is going crazy in my head and I want to do everything all at once. But I have this one day to film this video, so let's go. So like I said, for this 5-year journal, I'm going to either continue using it after 2023 on the right side, or I was originally thinking I would use the right hand side for pictures throughout the year. So the idea is that this is a 5-year journal, so 2023 is going to be the last year of that 5-year, and I was just thinking I would kind of go back to the previous years and then just pull up photos. If there is a photo, I'm going to pull it up and just try to paste those photos here so we can see like 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023 all together, and we can see like most of the photos are going to be of my son, so it's just like seeing how he's grown is going to make me cry. Uh, but I think that's how I'm going to be using this. And if I do end up putting the photos in, then I won't be able to continue using this for another year or 5 years after 2023, but that's okay. Maybe I'll come up with a 5-year journal. I'm not promising anything, but maybe I will. So that's that. So that's something that I will still be using. And then I got to this topic because I was saying that I'm going to have only one planner for everything, except for my son's memory journal. So previously, I've done something like this where I had created, this is a A5 Stalogy that I bought in 2019 before my son was born, and I wanted to kind of create this like photo journal with like my son, and I did such a great job. Like I've kept up with it, and I stopped because it was getting too chunky, and I didn't want this book to be not manageable. So I stopped after a while, and I did a pretty good job keeping up. And then I moved on to using a Hobonichi Cousin. I'm not going to show that, but I used the Hobonichi Cousin to continue that photo journal, memory journal keeping practice for my son. But I didn't keep it up last year, and I do really like that, so I'm going to continue doing it in a half-year, in a half-year common planner. So this is like an example of what the half-year looks like. So I'm going to do I'm not sure if I'm going to use both black or mauve and black, but I definitely know that I want one of them to be black. So I'll be using something like this for his homeschooling record keeping, and also journaling in the back where I put photos of him. And the reason why I'm going with a half year is because I want to put photos in, and it will bulk up the planner, and it's just going to be more manageable. As you can see, it will probably bulk up like this, and it's just going to be more manageable to have a half year instead of a full year. So I'm going to be using that for my son's homeschooling record keeping and memory keeping journal. And I can kind of just like briefly talk about how I will plan on doing it. So the first thing I will do is like this page I'm going to leave blank until like the end of the year, and I'll probably just pick like highlight photos and paste it here and make a collage. And then I'm not going to use this page for goals. I'm going to just kind of use this as like a place to probably write down like different aspects of his like life, and then how far he's gotten for like different aspects of his life. Anyway, so that's that. And then the quarterly is just going to be another highlight section or like record keeping of like what we did in terms of like reading and curriculum. And then for the monthly page, I want to do photo highlights, but it might not be one photo per day. So maybe if there was something special, I will put the photo here just like as a highlight, and that way we can come back and like at a glance we can see exactly what happened that month. But I think some squares will be photos and some squares will just be writing. And he's been doing this thing where he'll like summarize his day for me without me prompting it. It's really, really cute. He'll just say, I learned this today, and like I did this, and he'll just name all the things that he'll list all the things that he did that day. I think it's so cute. So I might like do that here too in his words. I don't know. So that's probably what I would do. And then probably like over here, maybe I'll write down just like quickly what he did in terms of homeschool, or maybe that's enough to, it's enough to just write it here. I don't know. And then for the weekly section, I'll just write down like his activities that day and anything special that happened by the hour. And then sometimes if I can't do it by the hour, then I'll just write down what he did. And that's what I did in my Hobonichi Cousin before, and I really like that. And I will be carrying this with my full year together, either together or separately, so that I can just constantly write stuff down because I'm with him like 24/7, which is really, really nice. And then I will be using the back. So this is all notes pages. I'm going to be using this as a place to just like put down the date. And then these are all stickers from our shop, by the way. And I'll just put down like photos and then whatever he wants to write here. And he also likes to draw. He loves drawing, actually. So I just let him squiggle and do whatever he wants. He loves watercoloring, specifically watercoloring. He loves using a brush and like loves watercoloring. He gets really upset if he can't do watercoloring. So that's really fun. So I'll let him do some watercoloring here. That should be really nice, and it'll be nice to be able to kind of keep all of this together. So that's, I just wanted to quickly touch upon that. But everything else in terms of planning and dated material will be housed in my full year planner for myself. So now let's kind of figure out what I want to use each section for. And I also wanted to kind of show you my previous planners and notebooks to kind of show you like the evolution of this planner, because okay, so this is my 2018 A6 size. This is so cute. I cannot believe I used this as my planner for a whole year. Like, it's so tiny. I can't believe how small this is. Like, I can't believe it. Anyway, so I used this A6 size Stalogy for 2018, the last 2 months of 2018 and 2019. I used a whole book for the whole year, and I can kind of show you what I was doing. And it's just pretty interesting, in my opinion. So I left some pages in the front, and I did like my little watercoloring, like I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I like how it turned out, but that was when I decided I'm never watercoloring in my planner ever again, because it's just way too much. It takes too much time, and it's not worth my time, because I don't know. Planner is a place for me to be functional and just like get to the point, not to draw stuff. So I basically had like this monthly layout, and then I had weekly here, which was like a horizontal setup, sort of. And then I would have just like dailies where I write down like to-do list, and you can see I split the page in half. And I had a tracker, and I would do like weekly layout. You can see I did like that. Oh, look at my ugly handwriting. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it was so weird looking back then. I didn't really know how to script back then. Anyway, so I split the page in half, and then I would have a cover page, December, and I would just put this floral sticker here. And this was actually when the idea came to me, and I thought it was just like getting so repetitive. I wasn't able to find the type of decoration that I wanted in my planner, and the ones I liked were very limited, so I just ended up using the same stickers over and over. And that's when, like, look, like I wanted something floral, and I wanted something to just go together. I tried to do this like yellow green theme here, and it was just like not, it's like taking too much time for me to find the decoration that I wanted. And that's when the idea kind of came to me that I wanted to create like a whole cohesive collection of floral central, like floral-centric decorations for my planners. And that's kind of how Sterling Ink was born. And yeah, you can see that I just like did that layout where I split the thing in the middle, and I would have this like future planning sections. Anyway, I don't mean to like go into it too much, but I just wanted to kind of show you, like, I used this for the whole year, and then like the back section was just all notes, and I also used these like halfway like that. Yeah, so like it was so nice. I loved that everything was contained in this little notebook, and I will continue to do that for the future. And that's the way I plan, and it works for me. And so that's the way I plan, and it really works for me. It's always like, I love this combination of like a planner and notebooks, because I'm just so drawn to a thick, chunky notebook. Like here, I used this back in, I don't remember when, probably like 2018 too. And you can see that, like, I just love using This was like the start of Sterling ink in 2020, and I just love, really drawn to like a blank blank notebook, blank chunky notebook. And like this is from 2015. Like look, I used to like date stamp all of my pages. This is like 2014. It's crazy. Yeah, so this is a moleskin, like an extra large or something like that. It's so cool. It's really cool. And I believe this is PU leather. I just really don't like how it peels after a while, even though it seems very durable at the time. And it's also not very environmentally friendly. Anyway, so this is my planner. And now let's go through the sections and then see how I might want to use this. And I'm going to be honest, I think I will be using this in a very similar way that I used my Hobonichi in 2021. So this is my 2021 Hobonichi cousin, and I use this for the whole year too. And I'm pretty much going to be using it exactly the same way, except that I will be just adding more, even more into it. And I'm really excited that there are no like extra pages that I don't need in here. It's just either going to be blank pages or you know, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. All of those I will be using. And by the way, I just wanted to show you one more thing before we even get into that. So this was the planner that I set up for this year, 2022. Originally when I started out this year, before I started out this year, I was going to set up my own planner in a blank like notebook, exactly the way I wanted. And that also kind of kickstarted this whole like thing about planners, even though I always wanted to make a planner and I knew exactly what it would look like if I were to create a planner. And that is the common planner that you see. I knew exactly how it was going to look, and I knew the size too. So it was like a no-brainer when it came to designing a planner, and that was what I was going to create. So this is what I set up for 2022, and you can see that it's pretty much exactly like Common Planner. So this is a Nanami paper notebook, and it's a Tomori River paper notebook. It has 480 pages. The first page you see is like this, and I set up that, and I have like my goals here, which I won't show. That I typed up and stuck it on. And then I had like these pages, that's quarterly pages. Surprise, it looks exactly like the Common Planner. And then I have like these ones where like I have these are basically just going into the daily pages, and I didn't have the weeklies here because by this time I knew that I was going to be using a different planner for that, so I didn't need to have weeklies in here. And this just ended up being my journal. But this is I would just have this like cover of like my calendars, and then I would have my dailies and then calendars and dailies. So this was pretty much the precursor of my Common Planner, and that was in the A5 size. So let me go into it. So first of all, that first page here, I think I might want to decorate this front section with stickers. You know, there's like vinyl stickers that are released every month. I'm just going to decorate it with that. And then maybe drop in some watercolor, I don't know, or gouache. Or maybe I'll do a drawing of gouache here. Maybe, because I'm like, in my goal planning video, I mentioned that I got this sketchbook from Leuchtturm, and I'm going to try to sketch more, and I'm trying to do gouache drawings, gouache paintings in here. So I might, like at the end of the year, maybe I'll like try to paint a picture here, kind of summarizing the year. That would be really cool. So actually, let me write that down. I've got my post-its here. So I have my, so that's gonna be fun. Let's try this. So paint a picture of, paint gouache, summarize year. Wow, that's a really good idea. See, I love doing this with you guys because it kind of talking through it makes my brain juice flow. So I think the idea is that I personally really like those really cluttered drawings where you can find like little things in like specific corners. So I want to draw like a really cluttered drawing of this year, like of 2023, to summarize it. And maybe it's a drawing that kind of gets built over time. So maybe I'll work on it little by little, and then at the end of the year I just like color it in. I think that's really fun too. So work on sketch pencil through the year and color later. That's fun. Okay, so that's the like the beginning of this like planner. And then here I'm not gonna do much about it. I left this blank. I didn't do anything here except for the logo because usually this page is like glued onto this portion, so I don't like to use this, and that's why I left that blank, and I put the calendar here. So here I'm going to, I did this thing where in my Hobonichi cousin before, where I would kind of just cross the date out if I felt like I've lived it fully and I put in 100% every day, and I didn't just waste the day doing nothing. Like, it's fine if I were resting on purpose, but like, for example, like I didn't just spend a day like watching like endless TV shows, which I don't watch TV shows anymore. But you know, just as an example, but like I can honestly say every single day I work so hard, so I can probably just like cross all of this off. So that was just like an idea. I don't track anything here. It's just like a feel-good page where you can just check the information, like which week are we on, like what day is that, like stuff like that. I might maybe like highlight some things throughout the year if something special happens, and I can make a note of it later. Or like make a note here if I want to, but I think most likely I'm just going to cross the days out, and then I'll just put a sticker. I saw a lot of people were using stickers to like put on each month to kind of show that that month has been like it's done. And I saw Marcella in Berlin, she used a sticker from our collection every month to kind of mark that month. I really like that idea. So Marcella, I'm going to steal your idea. So I'm going to take a sticker from our collection and put it right here. And then that way it's also nice for me to see that full year's collection, which will be fun. And then, yeah, so that's how I'll be using that page. And then back here, I had envisioned this page to be a place for me to do a vision board. So I want to do like a collage of like things that inspire me or images that inspire me. It could be aesthetically pleasing that will make me smile when I get to that page, or it'll remind me of something that I want to achieve. Or it could just be like, I don't know, just like nature, just to see something pretty like floral or like landscape on here, just something pretty to look at and inspiring and a calming place here. So that will be my spread here, I think. So let me write that down. Oh, actually I didn't write it here. So I want to fulfilling day, and then highlight important day, and also put a sticker on top. Okay, that's great. And then here I want to do a collage of feel good, inspiring image, quotes, pretty things, and calming things, landscape, etc. goal phrase. So I wrote goal because maybe I want to take out some quotes to put in here. So for example, one of the quotes that I recently came by was, what does it say? Strive not to be of success, but rather be of value. I really, really like that. So I might put that here just to remind myself that I want to become a person of value. I want to provide value for you guys. Like Sterling Ink is not just about products and, you know, making money, but I really want to provide something that actually give you guys value, and make you smile, or like, you know, provide something positive for your life. So I want to do something like that here. And then the goal section I already ran through in my video, so you guys can check out that video if you want to. I think I'm uploading all of these videos together, so both of these videos should be up. Or if I end up filming a third one, all of them should be up together at the same time. I'm not the type to like hold up on things and then, you know, release them bit by bit. I'm terrible like that, because like even when I buy presents for my son or my husband, it takes me so much to even hide the fact that I order something. And like those 2 days of like getting it from Amazon Prime or like wherever I'm ordering is like torturous for me. And I usually just don't even wrap it, and I literally pick it up from the package room and I just give it to them and tell them to open it right away. I cannot give surprises. I'm just terrible. Like I cannot. So that's just, I just wanted to say I'm going to be uploading all those videos together. And then this quarterly section, oh, I forgot to mention something. So for the goals section, what I'm going to do is, I did mention it in my goals video, but basically I will be typing all of the stuff that I worked through with you guys in that video, and then I'll be sticking them here. And the reason why I'm typing them is because, first of all, I want to, like, I'm pretty wordy, so I like to be very specific when I'm writing down these goals. So I'd rather type it, and I don't want to copy and paste them here. It just takes too much time. And then I don't want to worry about my handwriting, legibility. And then also, I like to print that out separately so I can laminate it as a card to put into my planner so I can see it all the time. And then another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a condensed version and then tape it here to serve as like a fold out. So it's going to be taped here, and I can open this up like this, right? So that when I'm going into my quarterly pages, I can see exactly what my goals were, and then that way it can guide me through planning out these pages. And also when I'm going into the monthly, I can see my goals, and it'll tell me, hey, monthly, you said you wanted to work on these things. So that's, and then for the weekly, I can also see that and say, hey, see that I wrote, hey, for every week you wanted to practice the piano for 3 times, 20 to 30 minutes each. Then I can then work it into my weekly planning, if that makes sense. And then it'll also help me with my daily, because some of the goals has to do with my journaling practice as well. So I do want to go into that. That's what I'm going to do. So I'll be typing out my goals. But another thing is that I think instead of just taking this word by word, what I'm going to do is for each quarter, I'm probably going to do a more quarter specific page, so that when I'm planning out the quarters or the months, I can see a more specific to-do list or goals. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, if I want to just take this and paste it here, or do a quarterly specific one, like how I did it in my Hobonichi cousin. So let me just show you in case you're like, what are you talking about? So in my Hobonichi cousin, this is for 2021. What I did was I used this page as a tracker, and then I had quarterly specific goals that I worked out here. So I just stapled two sheets together because that was the first quarter and this was the second quarter. And sorry. And then I just referenced this as I was working through the monthly to work these goals into my monthly spread and also weekly spread. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I just haven't decided if I wanted to do a quarterly specific goal setting or just copy this directly. So this is, I need to make a flip out page. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here. And then, so that's how it would work when I'm doing the quarters, planning out the quarters. I would be looking at my goals. So the way I would be using this is I will divide it in half. And the left-hand side is my wish list. So this is what I want to accomplish in this quarter. This is what I want to accomplish in January, February, March. And I'll be working through these 1 month at a time. And then on the right-hand side, I'll just compare and say, hey, did you read these books? Did you do these morning routines? Did you get through this task for work and blah, blah, blah. So that's how this page will work. So I'm going to write that in case I forget. So split in half. Left and right. And then left is wish list. Right. Actually done. I'm writing it quick, so it just means what did I actually do. And then on the right hand side, I'm going to use this as a goal tracker. Maybe it's how I used. It could either be goal tracker or reading tracker. I haven't fully decided yet, but basically in my Hope Nishikazen before, I used this as a goal tracker and it was so colorful and fun. And I would just list out my different aspects that I wanted to track. So for example, reading, exercise, and studying, all that stuff work. But I can also use this as a reading tracker. So this one I used in 2021 as a reading journal. And I was tracking my reading here. And I stopped here just because things got crazy and I didn't keep up with it. I don't want to go into it, but I basically use this as a place to track my reading. And as you can see, I did so well. My son drooled here. It's so cute now I think about it. It's so cute. I still remember that day when he like snuck up and like took this book and he was just like reading it and then he drooled over it. He was really young. He's so cute. And I used different fountain pen color. Wow, that yellow one is so pretty. Yeah, so I want to do something like this and where I just tracked which pages I read and then I would write down the books that I read up here. I might do that actually. That was really fun. So I might read that. I might do that. So let's just decide. What I might do is I might combine two things I want to track. So one is reading and one is exercising. So I might use like the majority of it for tracking reading, and then the last grid I might use for tracking like exercising, just to say, hey, did I do my exercising that day? Or maybe I'll just track my morning routine. Or maybe I can do my morning routine and exercise. I don't know. But basically, I want to use this for tracking, reading, and morning routine. Oh, I can't spell exercise. Okay, I don't even know if I spelled that right. It's not coming. Anyway, so I talked about my morning routine in my goal planning video, but basically in the morning I wake up and the first thing I do is exercise. And I don't want to go into too much of it because I did talk about it in my goal planning video, but basically I've come up with a system for myself that really worked, which is to wake up and study, and that's just like what I like to do. So it really motivates me to get up early. I'm not the type to wake up early in the morning, but because I love studying, I just wake up early. And I'm studying for pleasure, so it's more fun than like studying for school, I think, in my opinion. And no, there are no tests or anything, so I have no pressure. So I wake up super early to study, but I've since added exercising before that because I just told myself, hey, you have to finish exercising before you can study, and that's been working out really well. So I basically just get up, and in order to get the maximum time to do what I want to do, I just get through the exercising very quickly. By very quickly, I mean like without like postponing it. Like I'm not procrastinating from, I don't know, scrolling through the phone or whatever before exercising, because I just want to get it done so that I can jump to the thing I actually want to do. So that's how I'm going to be using these quarterly pages. And this page, so for this page I was thinking about it, and I'm going, since I will be using my this planner until literally the last day of December, I'm going to use this December page as a place to write down like monthly and weekly routine. And again, that's going to be referencing my goal pages and also my quarterly plan pages. And this page is actually going to be evolving and changing. So I will be either using pencil or friction pen to write in here, just like how I did it in my Hobonichi. So in my Hobonichi, this is the December page of the previous year, and I just wrote down my monthly routine, weekly schedule, and on the left-hand side, I used a column right here for doing monthly bills. So there are just like recurring bills, and I just like put it here, and that way I know like what we are subscribed to, and if we need to cancel anything, it's just nice to see exactly when everything clears. And then for that, I will be using our tracker sticker. So we came up with this tracker sticker 1 through 31. That's going to be available in our shop on Friday the 16th. So I'll be using that here, and I'll write down the different bills that we have. And I will just kind of break out, let me show you. So in the December page, I obviously like I condensed it. So I did week 1, 2, 3, 4, assuming that each month has 4 weeks. And I just kind of quickly wrote down like when the recurring tasks would be. Here in this case, we had like cleaning bathroom and like grocery ordering, family day out and stuff like that here. And this just served as a template for my future months. So whenever I start a new month, I will be referencing this and just fill those in. And that kind of gets my brain juice going. And I found that to be really, really helpful. And then on the bottom here, I'm going to set out my weekly schedule. And I can just white out these numbers, and that's no problem. And it already has Monday through Sunday. So I'll just be using it like that. And I'll be putting in like my ideal schedule for that week here. And this will also be helpful with like my son's homeschooling. And I can put in like when we want to do what there. And this will just, again, serve as like a template for when I'm doing my weekly layouts. So that's how I'm going to be using my December pages. So I'll write that here. So monthly and weekly routine, and also bills. So that's what it is. And for the regular months, I will be using this as a place to schedule. This is basically the first place I go to when I'm pre-planning, and I usually pre-plan into these monthly spreads, and I will put down like important deadlines and all of that for work, and also important things that's happening for personal matters. And I will also be scheduling like my goal tasks in here, such as reading, studying, all of that is going to go in here and it's going to be packed. And that's how I want to use this planner next year. I want to just have everything in one place, and that way I don't have to go into different things. And I hope that I can fill out this entire planner exactly like how I did it this year. And it's just so fun to kind of flip back to, and I will have this one book to reference later to kind of see how my year went. And so that's how I'm going to be using this. So this is a place for me to pre-plan and just write out all the tasks. And I'll probably just have highlights as well here. And this is really a place where I can just see the month at a glance. And I usually like to write out the week numbers up here as a header, exactly like here. You can see that's what I've been doing consistently throughout the years. I also did it in my Hobonichi cousin as well. So you can see that I did that. So I like to write out the week number really big. And that's how I look at my week. And I just write down like the important tasks down there. So that's exactly how I'll be using this, this page. So deadline, pre-planning, goals, highlights. Okay, so that's how I'll be using my monthly. And for the weekly, so the way I use my weekly is pretty much going to be the same as how I'm using it for how I'm using it this year. So I can show you. I started out this year by using it the same way that I've been using my Hobonichi, which is like a vertical to-do list layout. But starting from, so you can see that's how it was going. And then starting from October, I believe, I started to kind of experiment with ignoring the lines and the dates and just creating my own layout. So this is one layout that I worked on, and I really like this. This is like, for those of you who are just like, you have no time to create a layout, this is probably the one that you should use, because you can just draw a line, or not even draw a line, just kind of do a mental division between the top and the bottom. And you can use the bottom as a place to write down notes for that week, and then the top can be a place where you put down appointments and all of that. And you can just easily ignore the time, because the print is pretty light, so you can, it's very easy to just write over it. So this is a layout that I did. This is a horizontal layout where I just use this portion as a horizontal quick to-do list, and then on the right I just use it as a place to write down notes. This is a different layout where I did vertical on this one page. So you can see I used 3 days and then 4 days. So that's the weekly section, and then the right side is just a place to write down notes. This is another type of horizontal layout, and this is another type of like a combination of the top being a quick to-do list, and then the bottom as like a quick daily notes. So you can see I divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. And here is again like one of the, I think this is probably one of my favorite layouts, just because there's not much work that you need to do to create it. And yeah, so those were probably like those were the layouts that I worked on, and I really liked it. So I will continue doing that in my weekly section. So I'll be dividing it up into just based on how my week looks. But all of these layouts work out pretty well for any kind of scenarios. But yeah, I don't think I will be using it as a hourly timeline exactly like this next year. Just because of how much I loved mixing it up with these different layouts. And you can see that I used the pages more when I had these different layouts. It was just like much easier to use. And of course, like, you know, some of you like do like to use the hourly layout, so of course you can do that. And I used to do that for like, I used to do that as well. So that's what I did here. like for the entire year, I used it like, you know, vertical layout to-do list. But, you know, I just found that I like those layouts much better. So I'm going to be doing that. And so I'm going to write here that I'm going to create different layouts. And that's a place for me to do to-do list, goals, tasks. So that's what the weeklies are for. And then now let's go to dailies. I call it dailies, but it's really just notebook. Treat this as a notebook, and it's just attached to the planner section. It's really meant to be a combination hybrid planner and notebook. And I don't think of this as dailies necessarily. I just think of it as a notebook. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just so attracted to like a thick blank notebook where I don't have a pressure to write every day, but some days I need to write multiple pages, or sometimes I need to use it for something totally different, and if I want to block that out as a separate section, I can't do that. And that is the reason why all the notes pages are in the back, because it's really meant to be a notebook. And I wouldn't call it dailies, but I think it's easy to call it dailies just because it's like yearly, monthly, weekly, and daily. But like I said, I think I'd really treat this as a notebook, blank notebook. But it does have the page numbers on the bottom, so it's very easy to reference. If you need to like write meeting notes or like any journaling events that you want to reference in your weekly, it's going to be really easy to just write down which page number it was at. And so for me, if I came up with a brilliant idea for Sterling ink, which is my work, that I need to reference, for example, like if I'm designing April collection and an idea popped up on January 5th where I was using the dailies here and I wrote it down on page 11, then I know like around which time I will be designing the April section. So I'll probably go into the monthly section here. Say if I'm designing April and February, then I'll just write here, please reference page 11 for the ideas for April. Then I can very easily just go reference that and then know exactly what I was thinking about and then just pick it up from where I left it off. But I am not going to be dividing it into sections. I'm just going to treat this as a notebook, and I'll just work from page 1 all the way to the end if I can. We are coming out with B6 size blank notebooks, so if you do run out of pages, you can definitely pick up like a matching notebook exactly like this, exactly like the daily pages minus the page number, and just add it to your collection, and it will match the cover, either black or mauve. And you do have an option to have no gold edge, so most of it is going to be plain white edge, and we're going to have a very limited amount in with the gold edge for people who love gold edge just like me. But okay, let me go back to how I'm going to be using the daily pages. So let me flip through my dailies here. I will do an official like flip through of my daily pages of this planner, just because I think it'll be fun to look back at. But basically, I'll be using it in a pretty similar way to how I used it in this notebook, which is to kind of split. First of all, start out with the planner, the calendar right here for the month. These are freebies that you can download and print out yourself, or if you're subscribed to our full kit subscription, then you will get that in your subscription. So I will be splitting into half, and all of these pages have tick marks on the center point, so you can just easily draw out your own layout. And then I'll be using it like this, and I'll start with a header with the date and the weekday. And hold on, instead of writing it out myself, I'll be using our sticker. So this is a product that's available in our shop, so you can get the date, and then you can get the weekday sticker to do that. So that's what I'll be doing. And then when I'm doing these daily pages, it's really like a catch-all. It's like everything I need to write down, I'll write it here. It could be journaling, it could be reading notes, it could be favorite passages from the readings I've done. I've even kept track of like what I read that month, and I've written down like ideas for future collections. I've written down like inspiring things I learned from things I've read either on social media or like documentary or like books I've read, interesting facts and such. So it's a place for me to write down anything, and that's why it's called the Common Planner, because it's inspired by the Commonplace Notebook. And I know that Commonplace Notebook is not really supposed to have journaling entries. It's more for, it serves as a place to write down like all of your learnings. But for me, it's just a place to write down anything I want to. And the way I'm going to be keeping track of the index is I will be on the back of the notebook. I will have an index like this where I will create like these marker tabs, which I use Tombow marker to do. And it's in the like top down, like kind of, there's no order to this really. I was just doing it as I go, but in the future, I think for next year, I think I will just start out with some kind of index on the back to start with. And how this works is that when I'm doing this, I know some people said like, oh, because you have gold edge, you can't even see the tabs, but you can, because you just go like this and you can see the tabs here. And then you can see my tabs here that I drew myself. I mean, these are really light. I think I made it darker here. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, these are like pretty visible, as you can see right here. So like these tabs are for the different months. So that's for July, August, September, and October. So that's like my own tabbing system. And then on the back, I have the tabbing system for these different categories. So if it's an inspirational quote, then I tab it on the top. And then if it's a commonplace note-taking method or something that I was learning about that, then it'll be tabbed right here. So this is how I'm going to be keeping track of the different things that I'm keeping track, writing in this notebook. And I think it's been working out pretty well, and it's not hard to do. And I just kind of write out like a one-word reminder of what that was. And I also highlight that specific section so I can match it. Like that's ladder, that's ladder. So this was a quote about a ladder or something that was inspirational. So you can see that I was highlighting through here. So that's pretty much how I'm going to be using this. But in addition to that, I had another idea for something else that I want to add into my daily writing. And that is a daily review. So what I'm going to do is, here I wrote it down, daily review. I want to first write down today's focus, like what was the main thing that I did today, and what was something that I did that was really good that I need to continue doing. And then another thing is, what should I stop doing from whatever I did today? Like what was bad about what I did today? For example, did I like spend too much time on something that was totally unrelated to anything and that was not productive? Was I focusing too much on something that was negative, that wasn't going to help me in any way, and stuff like that. It's just like kind of learning from that day and then taking away what was good and what was bad. And I just want to kind of have this exercise of reviewing that day in terms of something that I want to continue doing, something I need to stop doing, and what was the one main thing that I focused on today and got done. And I think another thing I want to add is like procrastination point. I was doing that before in 2020 and 2021, and I've since gotten pretty good with not procrastinating because I've gotten pretty good at like recognizing when I was about to procrastinate. I've talked about this a while ago in a few of my videos, I think. So I took this class on Skillshare where someone was talking about procrastination, and it really clicked for me because she said that the reason why we procrastinate is because you don't know how to do the next thing you're supposed to do, or you don't really want to do the next thing you want to do, right? And that made so much sense. And I applied that to every time I was about to procrastinate, and it was true like 100% of the time. The reason why I procrastinate is because I don't want to do the next thing, or I don't know how to approach that next thing. So the way I work through that is basically, if I don't know how to do something, then I break it down and I either look up how to do it, look up how other people do it, or I break it down into small pieces. So sometimes with drawings, it's very easy to procrastinate when I'm working on a collection if I don't know where to start. If that's the case, then I just put down pen on paper and just write whatever comes into mind, and 100% of the time that works. And sometimes I procrastinate because I don't want to do something. Then when it's like that, when it's that scenario, then I just pivot and work on something else that I can do in that meantime. When I just to kind of switch things up, there are always things that I can do in lieu of the other thing I don't want to do. So that way I can still stay productive and don't procrastinate. So I've been pretty good about pushing away procrastination and fighting procrastination. And another thing that I do is I also scroll on the phone. It's sometimes you kind of get into, or I kind of get into this endless scrolling on the phone, like on Instagram or something, right? Or you're checking, you're tracking or whatever. So whenever I do that, I just force myself to literally put down my phone. And I when I use my phone, I'm checking my Instagram messages, I'm checking Facebook messages, and all of these work related things, but I don't do anything that's other than work related things. It just happens that my work is the best thing ever, which is stationery and planning. So that's really fun. But whenever I even start to scroll, I just literally to put down my phone, and then I'll just take out my planner. If I'll try to write on my daily pages if I start to do that, but most of the time I'm just too busy that I don't really have time to scroll through my phone. And I don't watch Netflix or anything because not because I need to force myself to do that. I feel like I've just watched way too much TV and TV shows when I was in college, and we're the early 20s, that I feel like I've watched most of the TV shows out there, and now I'm I have no desire to watch anything. And it's more fun, honestly, for me to read a book. So that's kind of how I fight procrastination. But why was I talking about that? It's because I was trying to talk about my daily review. So my daily review is, I want to write down today's focus, what I should continue doing that was good, and what I need to stop doing, and also maybe write down what was the problem, what was something that came up that that kind of disrupted my day, that I couldn't get something done. Then that way I can just kind of pinpoint what was the issue and then try to work through it. And I find that to be really helpful, and I personally really like doing that. So it's not a time for me to be why did you not get this done? It's more hey, what was going on? It's just talking to a friend, but except that you're just talking to yourself. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the daily pages that I wanted to say. So let me be really careful and not have another pen accident and put this here. And just write down, I want to do journal, reading notes, inspirational, memory keeping. Oh, and I also want to add more photos into my daily pages and just my planner in general. I don't do that enough, and I just got a Canon Ivy which seems to do better than the HP Sprocket. I don't know, but I'm going to give my HP Sprocket to my mom so that she can also journal. She's also using one of these, so I want to give it to her so that she can put photos of my son that she takes in there. So memory, journal, photos, and then I want to write the second part of it, which is daily review. And that is today's focus, continue doing, stop doing, and procrastination point, problem / what I learned. So yeah, that's how I'm going to be using my daily pages. And I'm really excited about these page numbers because in the sample that I'm using right here, it has no page numbers. So I had to write out my own page numbers here. But in here, I will have these page numbers to reference. So that will be really interesting. So yeah, that's how I'm going to be using my planner, I think. And thank you guys for working it out with me. So that's how it looks right now. And this is how my used planner looks like on the side, on the top. So I'm really excited, and it's just like a combination of all the other separate planners that I had. So like here I would journal about my reading every day, and I just think that I'm going to do the same thing in here as well. So I think it's definitely enough pages for me because I won't be able to write every day. I'll try to, but I probably won't get to it every day. And other than this planner, I still will be using my reference binder. So right now this reference binder basically has everything. It's like, I think of this as my brain in categories in a book form. So it has all these different categories that I need to keep track of. Either it's family or it's like my personal goals or things I'm working on, work stuff. So all of them are here. And this is just like one collective place where I need to put things so that it can be easier to find. And it has no dated material. It's just like, think of this as a folder. Basically, that's what it is. And it has no specific inserts. It's all like, you know, like these inserts that I've designed for myself, which looks like that. It's just like grid pages. So that's what this planner is. And I do want to kind of rework the sections a little bit based on my goals that I've set up with you guys, which is like right here. So all of these goal sections, I want to kind of rejigger this just a little bit so that it goes in the order of that, and also put my vision, update my vision at the beginning of the planner. But also another thing I want to do is I want to actually set up an A5 binder just for Sterling ink, because now like the business has gotten bigger and there's like a lot more things happening, like a lot more products, like tax information, all of that stuff. Like I just feel like it's not enough to put that information here. So I want to separate Sterling ink out into its own A5 binder, which I have like plenty of A5 binders, so I'll just pick one and put it in there. And then I will still have a Sterling ink section here just for like small things or like a really big overview, so I can see things in like at a glance, or if it's something that I just want to like, something like happy or whatever important that I want to remind myself of that's related to Sterling ink, I'll put it in here. And also like I've gotten so many sweet messages from you guys, and I really want to like save all of them and put it into my binder because they make me so happy, and it just reminds me of like why I'm doing this, and I just love my job. I love what I do, and I'm so happy that I can make some of you happy. I hope I make most of you happy, but some of you who have messaged me, it just like really warms my heart. So I want to keep that in here, and I don't need a whole A5 binder for that, so I'll keep that information here. But yeah, I'm excited to set up that A5 binder just like as a reference thing for work, and so that my husband can also reference it, and it's just going to be easier to reference that instead of going through like a big folder with like all different types of paper. So that's something else that I'm setting up. But other than that, it's just going to be this planner. I did at some point think of setting up a finance, like budgeting thing in a Hobonichi weeks, but I decided against it just because I feel like I'm not going to keep up with it, and I feel like every time I budget, it blows up in a bad way, because anytime I try to restrict myself from doing something, then I just go out and go crazy. So I'm just going to continue doing what I've been doing, and just be financially like responsible, and just, you know, which I've been doing. Like I don't spend too much money. My husband spends no money. Like he's so good. So, and now that I'm making planners, I hope I'm not buying planners. Which, like, let's face it, planners are not that expensive compared to like a lot of other things. And I don't spend money on anything else. So like I don't buy clothes, I don't buy, like, we don't eat out really. I don't buy coffee, I don't go to Starbucks. I actually stopped drinking coffee starting from September, and I have not missed it at all. It's just so crazy. I used to be coffee crazy, and it turns out that I'm just milk crazy. I just love milk, and I love tea now. So it's been great. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to talk about. And I'm so excited for 2023. I'm excited to start that in this planner. I can't wait to see how this does after a year. So far, this planner has been doing really well for half a year. This has held up pretty well. The spine is completely fine. It's all sewn binding, so it's totally fine, and like I don't see any issue coming up for like this planner. I mean, at least I hope not. I mean, obviously, as you're using planner, like things will happen. So for example, like this is Stalogy, and Stalogy has really good quality, right? But after a year of using, this paper will, like this cover, separated from the binding, but it's completely fine. It's just it's that piece right here, and like see, it's like separated like that. I don't know if you can see, and it doesn't affect the binding because that's just a cover piece. And this one, like it came like this because I asked them to do this, and it's not connected, and that's completely fine because the papers are all sewn together. So I think it will be the same thing with this. And I like, since we're on the topic of like quality and whatnot, I know a lot of people were complaining about the flimsy cover. So I want to just like quickly talk about it. So the reason why this is really thin is because, first of all, this cover is paper. It's a textured paper, and so is this. This is also paper. It's not faux leather. It's not PU leather, whatever you want to call it. It's paper. It's textured paper. It's just that this has like a shiny finish. This has like a matte finish. That's the only difference, and the texture is a little bit different. You can't feel this texture, but it has this grainy like look to it, whereas this is more like linen type of feel, but it's not linen, it's paper. And the reason why we chose paper over PU leather is because PU leather is toxic. There are a lot of toxic things out there, of course. I mean, there's probably something going on when they were making this paper too. But it's just that I was presented with the information that PU leather from the supplier, the PU leather is toxic, and this paper is more eco-friendly. And then I went out and did my own research, and it also showed the same thing, like PU leather is toxic. And I'm not trying to be like, hey, I'm like so eco-friendly and like I don't do any of these like bad things. I do use PU. I'm aware that, you know, in Gilio they probably have like PU leather here. I don't know if that's true, but this is not real leather, so that's probably PU leather. And I'm aware that some of the stuff I buy has PU leather. I'm not saying that I don't use that at all. But when I am producing stuff, we're not producing that much of it, but still it's a very sizable amount. And I was presented with the information that there's this option and there's that option, and this one is toxic. So I'm not going to choose that. So that's why we went with the paper. And that meant that it was very thin because it's paper. And I personally like the feel of this because it's so flexible and soft, and it feels like a book that I'm holding instead of like this hard thing, right? And for me personally, I always keep my planner inside a cover. So it wouldn't be an issue for me if it was like flimsy or thin. But I understand that not everyone does that, and not everyone likes that. And, you know, I am here to provide a product for you guys. So if you, there's a complaint, then I listen. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because we kind of went back and looked at this cover and then talked about how we can make this thicker and better. And we have come up with a solution to make this thicker without going with the PU leather, right? And the next product that we're going to release, which is a notebook and undated B6 and A5 planner. The supplier has tried this version with a thicker cover, with the same cover like this, but thicker. So I need to check the actual sample to confirm whether it is actually stiffer than this or not. So I can't really say, yes, it's going to be stiffer or not based on just the photo. So, but I just wanted to say that, yeah, we are trying to make improvements on things, and this was our first year doing this, and I'm here to hear your, listen to your feedback, and I really appreciate that. So I just wanted to kind of mention that for those of you who are concerned about it. But I had this in my planner cover like for half a year, and it was completely fine. And you know, with any kind of planner, over time, unless you're like so careful with it, there is going to be some issues with it at the end of the year. I'm really careful with my planner. I don't like baby it or anything, but for example, like this is coming off, like this is coming off, like this is Hobonichi. Hobonichi is really, really well made. This is coming off, like, you know, things happen to it. And this was in my cover all year, so I don't even know why that would come off, because you know, this was in my leather cover all year. I didn't use a clear cover on it, and we are selling those clear covers for the common planner. But my point is that, you know, things will happen to your cover over the year. And it also depends on if you put your front cover in the front like that or not. So as you can see, yeah, it's going to bend, and you have to kind of make sure that it goes in like that. And that happens to all of my planners basically whenever I put, regardless of how stiff it is. When it's stiff, this happens because it's so stiff, it's like it has nowhere to go, so it just like bends. So, I mean, that's just like kind of what I wanted to talk about. And then I've only used like a third of this, and you can see that this is like separating. And this is Nanami notebook, and it's really well made too. So I just wanted to mention that because, you know, it is not made of steel, and things will happen to it unless you're just not using it. And I personally do not care, as long as like this whole book is like breaking apart. Like I'm okay with like the cover getting a little bit dinged up. It's fine. And it just shows me that I used it. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that, and then we are talk about the fact that we are making improvements to the cover. And we are coming out with notebooks that's 520 pages and also 260 pages. And also undated versions that's in B6 size and A5 size. And that's also in full year and half year. Those are not going to have gilded edges, but just because it will add on to the lead time. But the notebooks, we will have a select limited amount with gold edges. So that became a really, really long video again. But I hope you enjoyed that video setting up or like thinking over how I would set up my planner. And again, I will probably, I don't know, should I do it? I don't know. I will probably just do a concise version of like how I'm going to be using this planner. For those of you who are like, wait, what did she just do? I don't know. This is such a long video, I don't want to watch it. So for those of you, I will make a really concise video just so that you can see, okay, this is how she's going to use it. And by no means I'm saying this is how you have to use it at all. Like, I hope that was clear, but this is just how I'm using it. And you can do whatever you want with it. And I've been loving looking at all of your setup videos, and like, not setup videos, I haven't watched the setup videos, but like on the Facebook group, I've seen a lot of people like showing their spreads and how they're using it and talking about how, like, how you want to use it, and on Instagram as well. And that's been so much fun. I love it when you guys just like make it your own and just like do your own thing with it. It's just so inspiring, and it inspires to create like other products, gives me ideas as well. So it's been really fun. And yeah, so I am so grateful for all of you, and I love you so much. And thank you for giving me all the positive energy, making my everyday so much fun. Playing with the stationery, coming up with new stationery, designing new stickers and such. So I had so much fun with you guys today, filming both the Go video and this video. And now I'm going to probably journal about it in my half year. And let's see, how much time do we have left until the end of this year? Just curious. So right now we are at December, which is here. So we have this week. We're only 2 weeks away from 2023. That is insanity. Wow. So January 1st will be Sunday. I cannot believe it. Wow, this year just flew by, but also like so much has happened this year. I hope this was a good year for you, and I really hope that 2023 will bring even more exciting things for you all. And stay safe, stay healthy. I wish you all like health and happiness. I think those two things are the most important. As you can see in my goals video, that was my like topmost like goal for the next year. So yeah, I just want to say I'm really thankful for all of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.